Fuck! I'm a fucking idiot! And it was comedy gold! Alright, fine. Whatever. Let's start. I guess.
Like you're mad. So
I'm very mad.
You didn't start the fucking I don't think I need to clap.
No.
I'm
It's just gonna throw me off,
I'm
you know.
just good at the lip flap. Alright.
Fucking dumb.
And you still clap, by the way.
I know, that was the second clap. That one's for me. Not necessary, just for me.
Hey,
I never know how loud I need to have this.
Hey Blake, have you ever just looked at someone's hair and like looked at like how it grows?
Or for you, how it grew.
You're so mean!
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Just Rogaine, man.
Yeah, I need to.
Or you know those old commercials where like, oh man, this product, like this operation, you can get a full head of hair. What they don't tell you is it's pubic hair. They take the hair off your pubes. They take the hairs from your balls and just put it on your other head.
I don't think that's how that works.
I think it is. Either that or it's coming from your asshole.
Oh, jeez.
It's coming from somewhere down there.
It's gotta be coming.
It's your hair. It is your hair. It is confirmed to be your own hair removed from another part of your body.
What if they take like your beard hair?
Then you're lucky. It's like, no, I've got ball hair on my head.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to Higurashi when they cry Meakashi.
Meakashi.
Hey, I was going to say something, but I know I made that joke before.
Meakashi.
That's not the joke I made, but it's variety is the spice of life. The day of the Watanagashi festival. I'm realizing I'm Shion. The day.
I can't with you today. I'm Shion.
The day. I'm Michael Caine. The day of the Watanagashi festival.
Fuck, man. Like we haven't even started.
June 20th, 1982.
Stop.
1:40 p.m. Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. Who's Michael Caine?
Dark Knight. Butler.
Oh.
I forget his name. What was I doing today? Nothing in particular. Nothing at all. I just wanted to play hooky. I woke up in the afternoon. I ate instead. Instant! Wake up, Blake! Wake up!
I ate instead food.
Wake up! Why don't you put a little makeup?
You wanted to.
What?
I
ate instant food for lunch while watching boring TV programs. Such as this. I said programs!
No, you didn't.
I said it!
You said
You are inaudible of the ears. I had a light headache, so I laid down on the sofa.
Blake, this sounds like your like typical day.
I don't lay on sofas. I lay on my bed. Because I am sad fuck. I wouldn't wake up again if I went to sleep.
She went to sleep.
Whatever. I decided to sleep. I'd already told Sis that Satoshi-kun had asked her to look after Satsuko. I didn't have to do anything myself. I fell asleep, though my head was aching a little bit. That would be all I'd have to deal with. June 20th, 1982, 5:02 p.m. The aunt believed that all the villagers frowned upon her because her brother-in-law and his wife were pro-dam activists. She surely experienced some fallout during the time of the dispute, but people had stopped looking coldly upon her even though she assumed otherwise. She was paranoid, believing that all the villagers hated her, and so she decided to hate them back. Her attitude, of course, begot hate beget hatred from the villagers, and the situation became exactly the way she thought it was from the start. What came first, their poor relationships with the neighbors, or her husband's affair? She didn't know herself. Her husband claimed that he got a lover because he was fed up with her attitude. She, in turn, claimed that the relationship with the neighbors went sour because her husband had damaged their reputation. Only Satoshi was aware that both happened at almost the same time. Their quarrels had become a daily routine now. When the husband came home late, the wife would shout at him at the entrance. Satoshi wondered why they didn't get a divorce, their marriage being as rotten as it was. But he secretly knew the reason for that too. It was the fortune his parents had left. His aunt had hidden their bank book and stamp and never allowed her husband to access them. So her husband would search the house for them. She'd find out he stole some money from her purse. This would cause yet another fight. Satoshi had never been aware that his parents had that much money when they were alive. After their death, however, one of his relatives told him. He was informed that his parents had left a large sum of money in some bank account. Satoshi couldn't understand why they had that kind of money because his family had been, as far as he knew, poor. It was because of the dam project. His parents probably got the money in return for their cooperation with the government. They had strived to get more villagers on their side, provided information to them, and whatnot. The money was probably compensation for their efforts. His aunt and uncle never had any intention to adopt them until they heard about the money. After someone from some financial institution revealed its existence, they appeared to adopt Satoko and Satoshi. The couple would fight every day. Eventually, Satoshi's uncle started spending more time at his mistress's home. He realized that he had no reason to return to his own home, because he'd just end up in a fight with his wife if he did. When he stopped coming home, Satoshi felt relieved. Neither their uncle nor their aunt treated the two siblings very well. Satoshi's aunt wouldn't have to vent her frustrations upon them. The reason the couple fought was their corrupted relationship, so if they separated, there wouldn't be any more fights. Satoshi had thought that at first. But even after they separated, his aunt still had a short temper. Another woman had stolen her husband. The villagers must have been talking behind her back. It was mortifyingly embarrassing. Since she lost an opponent to fight, Satoshi's aunt directed her hatred toward the siblings. Satoshi had been observing her. He learned when she would get upset and how to avoid her attention. He managed to get by without upsetting her by turning a keen eye to her behavior and avoiding conflicts. But Satoko couldn't do that. She hated her aunt and didn't even try to hide it. Satoshi told her to behave in the aunt's presence, but her eyes were always filled with hatred. Satoshi strived to reduce the conflict between them as much as possible. He stepped in to mend the relationship. It was a heavy burden for him, though, because he was still just a boy. He bore her so much. He covered for his little sister by lying and maneuvering. He tried to maintain a tangible sense of peace, but he couldn't do that forever. The relationship between Satoko and her aunt had already been spiraled out of control. Satoshi found something in the trash. Probably wasn't a legitimate place for trash disposal. If it was, sanitation workers would come and pick it up. He passed by this street all the time, so he noticed when there were new things dumped there. He'd found a plain-looking desk of the kind likely to be seen in offices. Somebody must have dumped it within the past few days. His aunt liked to bring usable trash home. She'd had Satoshi help bring a chest home just a few days ago. If he told her about the desk, she'd want it. His aunt hated to find bugs and garbage in the drawers, so she'd always open them to check before carrying the thing home. Satoshi opened all the drawers, all of which were empty. After that, he turned around and walked for about 5 steps. He was standing in a knee-high bush. There he laid something he'd been carrying all the time until today. It'd be very hard to find unless you specifically knew it was there to begin with. Looking satisfied, Satoshi looked around for some landmark to remember the place by. June 20th, 1982, 5:51 p.m. I have a feeling this...
Him setting up to kill
the ants.
The ant. Because...
Hey, pal. I see you showed up again this year. You'd better get ready for us. Ha ha ha! You're as peppy as ever! Huh? Is she a newcomer? Uh-huh. This is Reina Ryugu. Don't underestimate her. She's good. No, I'm not. Nice to meet you. Yo, you too. I brought all kinds of prizes this year. It'll be a real battle to win. Try and take them all with you if you can. Reina tends to dote on cute stuff. Yeah, that stuffed animal looks like just her type. What? Oh, so cute! I want to take it home with me. Hey, the booth isn't open yet. Whoa! Stop it, Reina. He says the booth isn't open yet. You can run him into the ground once he opens it up. Oh, it's mine. I'm taking it home. Reina lost her marbles over the stuffed animal. Everybody laughed. Everybody except Satoko. She was standing by herself, some distance from the crowd. Her eyes looked dull. Meep. What is it, Rika? Rika walked up to Satoko, smiling ear to ear in an effort to cheer her up. Forget your worries today. Let's just have fun. Satoko looked down. Even if she got to have fun today, her circumstances at home wouldn't change. Satoko, your evil aunt isn't around. I know that. So, why don't you have fun? Mipa.
Ooh.
Mipa. Mipa? Oh, sorry, but I don't feel like it. Could you please leave me alone? Why aren't you smiling? Satoko sulkily glimpsed at Rika. She gave her a look, as though she wanted to say that Rika should know the reason. Even if she could have fun today, nothing would change between her and her evil aunt. No matter how fun the festival was, once she went home, her aunt would be there. The aunt would find something wrong with Satoko, get mad, and shout at her so loudly that the neighbors would hear. How could she have fun, even just for today, while knowing all that? Satoko didn't say that out loud, but her eyes betrayed her emotions to Rika. So, Satoko, if your suffering ends today, will you smile? Satoko gasped. She thought Rika might do something to help. But soon after, she realized that Rika was just trying to comfort her. Could her suffering end today? Because of Rika? Right, because Rika has some sort of, like, future-seeing power. How? Satsuko knew that there was really nothing Rika could do.
Oh, she knows.
She knows. And so after just one moment of freedom, Satsuko fell into depression again. Rika, don't give me false hopes. Satsuko. Rika's voice was clearer than Satsuko had ever heard before. It's already been decided. June 20th, 1982, 8:11 p.m. Satoshi snuck out of the window after supper. He heard the distant ruckus of the festival. The festival would end at 9 p.m. After the Watanagashi ceremony, there was going to be a raffle drawing. So there were two types of people in Anamizawa. The people who would go home for dinner, and the ones who would stay until the raffle was over. Either relaxing at home or still at the festival. There were only those two patterns. On top of that, there weren't many neighbors in the vicinity of Satoshi's house. As a result, he found nobody on the streets. On that night, the small village seemed especially desolate. Satoshi knew it was going to be like this, but he would keep worrying until he saw it for himself. He was barefooted, but started running without hesitation. He felt as though he'd become a wild animal, running on his bare feet. He got the impression that he could run faster than usual. Not only his running ability, his vision, his hearing, and his sense of smell All his senses were keener, including his sixth sense. All very similar to what Keiichi experienced during his murder spree. You can almost sense the presence of people in the distance, if only when crouching like an animal. It felt strange, as though he had stepped into another world. He'd been feeling tense and anxious until today, battling with his own fear. But now he felt as though he had metamorphosed into a different person. June 20th, 1982, 8:37 p.m. Alright, everyone. I'm going to explain how the raffle works. Please gather around the altar. The festival had reached its climax. The raffle was going to start. Both the women who were dancing and those who were waiting for the raffle gathered around the altar. This was the first time they held a raffle. The planning committee decided to hold one from this year onward to attract more people to the festival. At first, the prizes were things the committee members had donated, but Oreo, not appreciating how pathetic they looked, had thrown them away. Oreo took the initiative and bought a brand new TV, a washing machine, a cooling fan, and other such things for the raffle. Thank you, Oreo. You're so kind.
Yeah.
The committee wanted to keep it small initially, but it turned out big thanks to her. Oreo was upset because the committee members were enthusiastic enough, in her opinion. Some of the members thought it would be very difficult to prepare prizes of equal value the following year, so this might be the very first and last raffle. Oh! We get Oreo and Kiichiro! Damn it! Okay. Thanks to you, we have such wonderful prizes this year, Oreo-san.
Wow, she's actually stepping out.
They must have cost a lot, didn't they? We can reimburse you from our budget. Buffoon! No point in reimbursing that. It was never about the money. Idiots! No, don't say that. This raffle's all thanks to you, Oreo-san. It's not like I'm doing this all by myself. Don't be ridiculous. The Mayor Kimiyoshi was having a tough time pacifying Oreo. All of a sudden, one of the committee members burst into the tent in a rush. He looked upset, so Kimiyoshi assumed that somebody probably got hurt in an accident. What's going on, Makino-san? I hope you're not having a heart attack. Kimiyoshi made a joke to calm him down. Makino, however, still looked tense. He whispered something to Kimiyoshi. Even without hearing the exchange between Makino and Kimiyoshi, it was plain as day that there was bad news. Oh, yes, son. I have unpleasant news, if you don't mind. Kimiyoshi, accompanied by Makino, moved to Oreo's side and spoke in a very serious tone. Kimiyoshi whispered to her the exact same words Makino told him. Oh dear. This is bad. Ain't unexpected. What happens thrice will happen a fourth time. That's not funny, Oreo-san. Why did I laugh? You're right. It isn't. It's just another hassle. The police are trying to identify the body. I heard that the face was completely destroyed, so it'll be difficult. It's quite clear who it is, though. Huh? Do you know who it might be? Oreo glared at Kimiyoshi, then started chuckling. Idiot! It must be some impudent lad who didn't come to the Watanagashi festival. People who respect Oreo Shirosama won't get involved in something like that. Oreo kept laughing. Kimiyoshi and Makino didn't know how to react to that. June 20th, 1982, 9:04 p.m.
Oof.
Oh, Kumagai gets an artwork. This is merciless. Kuma-chan! Every death is merciless until the dead wished for it. They have my condolences. How's it going over there? Did you find something that could identify the body? The forensics investigators shook their heads. The victim's wearing sandals and casual clothes. They must be from this neighborhood. We should be able to identify the corpse by asking around. That's the way we do it. The section manager says this case might become classified, so be careful with that. Gotcha. Kamigai gathered some officers and gave them directions. Dr. Irie has arrived. Doctor, it's over here. A young doctor got out of his car and headed in the victim's direction. Hello. I'm sorry I've kept you waiting. I had to help with the raffle. You must have drunk a lot at the festival, Doctor. Are you sure you're sober? Maybe I should run a breathalyzer test on you just to be safe. I'm fine. My assistant is driving. Clever of you. Hey, let the doctor pass. There was an area cordoned off with blue plastic sheets. An officer rolled up the sheets and let Oishi and Irie pass. The forensic people were taking photos from many different angles. The blood spatters and the bloody sandals were left untouched, marked with chalk and indicated with small alphabetized plates. I'm not used to seeing things like this. Irie took out a handkerchief and covered his nose. You should breathe through your mouth. Well, you might sense the smell visually, though. The body appeared to be that of a middle-aged woman. It was soaked in blood. It looked like a middle-aged woman because of the hair and what she was wearing. The reason why no one could be certain it was a middle-aged woman was because its face was completely pulverized.
Yep.
This is brutal. I'm sure it was done out of malice. Victim must have been murdered from right here, judging from the pattern of the blood spatters and the soles of the sandals. Even though not many people take this road, the body is right in the middle of it. It's very unusual to see a culprit who would bludgeon their victim until their face was completely destroyed. Also, can you look at her arms? Oishi put latex gloves and lifted the corpse's arms. See? Spotless, aren't they? Are you saying the victim didn't try to protect her head? That there's no signs of struggle? Right you are. I think the victim lost consciousness with the first blow. Then the culprit kept beating to complete the murder. The victim was probably laying face down at the time. Judging from the stains on her clothes. The body is face up now. Culprit seems to have flipped the victim over in order to smash her face, even though by that point her death was certain.
Dang.
Irie looked like he was going to throw up, both because of the putrid smell and Oishi's reasoning. Smashing the victim's face is clearly a sign of a grudge in my experience. It's a very profound grudge too. That means culprit must be someone very close to the victim. I understand you didn't call me to resuscitate her. That's not right. Whatever. Doctor, do you know who the victim is? If you do, I don't have to waste time questioning the neighbors. Irie looked at the body once again. He looked away quickly and thought. Then after a while, Irie left the investigation area without saying anything. I'm sorry. I don't know. Huh? Are you sure? Oishi smirked and looked into Irie's eyes, as though Irie was hiding something. I'm not hiding anything. I guess you're still under the influence, Doctor. Maybe you'll remember when you're sober. Let me know if you do. Oishi tapped Irie on the back. The doctor saying he wanted some fresh air left the scene. Kumigai returned. Oishi-san, the section manager is on the radio. The one in the first car. Irie lied. Huh? Nothing. Hurry up and question the neighbors. Victim must be from this area. June 20th, 1982, 9:39 p.m. Oishi-san. There you are. Thank you for coming here this late at night. I know you have school tomorrow. I'm really sorry to bother you. No problem. Where's your father? My stepfather doesn't come home much. Haha! Since when? When did he come home last? I don't know. I heard he's living with a woman who works at a club in Okinomiya or something. I don't remember exactly when, but I guess I saw him a few weeks ago. Haha. Do you have your father's address? No. He's living with a woman who works at a club. Do you know the name of the place? No. I know it's in Okinomiya, and that's all. What's your father's name? Teppei Hojo. I wish he signaled Kumagai with his chin. He nodded while taking notes. Were your mother and father getting along well? I don't know much about that, but I don't think so. I see. I want you to tell me honestly. Do you know anyone who might have been holding a grudge against your stepmother? I don't. Alright. Please let me know if you remember something. Here's my card. My number is on it. Okay. I might ask you to see you again for further inquiries. And if you see your stepfather, please let him know that we want to contact him. Kuma-chan! Drive him home, will you? Oh, no. I can go home by myself. Please, let us drive you home. There's a possibility that the culprit who murdered your aunt is roaming around the neighborhood. You might get hurt too. Thank you for your consideration, but really, I'm fine. Satoshi tried to reject the officer, but Oishi and Kumagai insisted. In the end, Satoshi was forced to accept. He turned around to leave, when Oishi spoke to him as if he remembered something he'd forgotten to say. Hojo-san! Yes? Don't worry. It's no problem. We'll catch the culprit soon. Do you have any leads? Yes, we do. Well, like what? That's confidential. Ordinary people might think that Oishi was trying to cheer the poor kid up with a joke. Well, usually people get pretty worked up when they commit murder. Of course, there are some exceptions. What kind of evidence do you find when the culprit's worked up? When somebody is in a very excited condition, their body shows many symptoms, like sweat, loss of hair. We often find the culprit's hair at crime scenes. Well, this is outside, so it's a bit different, but still. Did you find their hair? I don't know yet. The forensic guys are searching the scene right now. I'm anxious to see what they'll bring me. Excuse me, I have to go now. Please, Kuma-chan, would you? Sure. Ojo-san, see you again soon. I'll let you know if there's any progress in the investigation. Let me know when you remember something. Let's cooperate to catch the murderer of your stepmother. He so fucking knows it's him. He's just fucking with him.
Oh, man. That's not the end.
No.
No, that's
the
the
halfway
halfway
point.
point.
Intermission time.
Didn't he leave the same night, though?
Well, it's still the same night, I feel like. Oh, no, it's next morning. Okay. Time to find out what happened. Although, I think Satoshi disappeared a few days after.
That's right.
But also, if you remember correctly, someone admitted to the murder and is in jail.
Oh, so
And I don't
maybe-
think it was Satoshi.
Maybe someone that Oreo
Maybe.
planted and then made them confess
We'll see
to it.
if that comes into play. Sis called the morning after the Watanagashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi-kun and Satsuko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now since the problem was with Satsuko and the aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason. Did the police have a lead on the suspect? Sis went quiet when I asked that. I don't know. Oishi seems to be questioning people in the neighborhood. He thinks the culprit is somebody close to the victim. Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious. Does Satoshi-kun have an alibi for that day? I don't know. Huh. I heaved a huge sigh. You stupid? He was at the festival. Didn't you see him there? Yeah, right. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion. So that means he did do it? That's not important now. The problem is whether he has an alibi or not. Well, the police are going to come here later. I'll tell them I was with him at the festival. Sis, lying out of the blue like that won't work. You haven't done anything to ensure his alibi. It's too late now. Please just be honest with them. I can't trust your acting skills. You might raise more suspicion if you make something up on the spot. Yeah, sorry. She sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonozaki family. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject. I guess you haven't been able to work lately, have you? You're right, I haven't. Thanks to you. I'm sorry about that. I'll hide somewhere until tonight, so maybe you can work today? Sis had been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I hadn't been able to pretend to be her. I hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working. But I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment over opened and Kasai appeared. Shion-san, are you heading out? Yeah. I'm going to work since Sis gave me time until tonight. Can you give me a ride? Shion-san, wouldn't it be safer for you to take a few days off? The police seem to be staking out the main house. I don't think it's a good idea to leave. I appreciate your concern, but I have to make money to survive. Kasai might suggest he donate money to my cause. However, I had sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. While I don't obey anyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision. So, after repeating himself a couple of times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all.
Fine.
Every time we went to my uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken with him on the phone just a couple days before, it'd been a while since I saw him last. Kasai, sorry, but could you tell my uncle that I can't come today? I'm getting off here. What? Shion-san. Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so he had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back. Hello? I'm surprised to see Gun Okinomiya, Satoshi-kun. If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled as brightly as I could. Mion. He looked tired as always. But as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun. I don't know the circumstances, but you look happy. Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy because you look happy. When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before. What's going on, Satoshi-kun? Does something good happen? Not really. My aunt died, and I had to deal with the police and the neighbors. I might have asked something dumb. You seem to be okay with it, though. He frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied. Like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him. So I was convinced. The one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Satoko was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. So I omitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive for killing his aunt, and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in. And I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I omitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked. Where are you going, Satoshi-kun? To work? That's right. I had to make a stop before that, though. A stop? I have to make sure it's still there, otherwise I'll continue feeling really anxious. That conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was to buy Satoko a huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recalled that the teddy bear was very expensive. Satoko's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day, though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-coworkers and clean out his locker, or something. Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet, then that's why he wanted to check if they still had the teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Satoko's birthday. When he got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window.
It's not gonna be there.
He looked relieved that it had not been sold yet. Good. Alright. It's still there. You've earned enough money already, haven't you? Why don't you reserve it? He probably hadn't thought of that. He really did need someone to look after him. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute, in my opinion. It looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale. I don't see a price tag. Is it really for sale? How much is it? Oh, yeah. I'm sure they sell it. What about the price? Does it fit your budget? It's alright, I already checked. Satoshi-kun thought I was teasing him again. He pouted and looked a little sulky. There's no problem then. Why don't you go reserve it now? Then you won't have to feel anxious anymore. We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is anybody here? Nice. Maybe you can get it without paying. No, Mion. Stealing is bad. I'm just kidding. Trying to make you laugh. Do you think I'd really do that? No, sorry.
It's gonna be one of the uncles.
Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed my cheeks to tease him. It had really been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now I felt as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us. I found an old person napping in the back. He must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep. Excuse me. You work here, right? I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in. Grandpa, you fell asleep again! We have customers! I'm really sorry, you two. He's been very flaky, you know. The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that. That was so embarrassing. So, how can I help you? I'd like to reserve something. That big teddy bear in the display window. Oh, that one? Are you sure? That one is really expensive. You know that, right? Yes. I think I have enough. He'll get paid really soon, so he'd like to reserve it. The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper. See? You don't have to worry about the teddy bear anymore. Yeah. I'll get paid soon, too. I feel relieved now. He would have kept coming to check every day if he hadn't done this now. He would have spent his time needlessly worrying. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed. I should have done it sooner. Usually, people do that right away when they want something. If it's very rare for somebody not to think of that. It's so very fun to tease him. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday. Anyway, thanks. It's like, oh god, not again. Satoshi-kun held out his hands to touch my head. Was he going to stroke it? I felt my face reddening already. Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything would be alright. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes, only to realize the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. It looked as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Hello, hello! The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. I had never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. He was probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away. Good to see both of you, Ojo-san and Sonozaki-san. I'm sorry to bother you at a time like this. This must be Kuroudo Oishi, the cop who's investigating the series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all of the cases. In other words, he's an enemy in the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force, and likes to nose around the business in this area. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough as it is by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. Naturally, as the family's successor, he's not a welcome figure to Mion Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react. Oh, Oishi-san. Thank you for working hard for our safety. Oh, the 4 of you want something from this toy store? A doll, maybe? Pfft. I know what they want, and it's not a toy. It's probably not me, either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other 3 cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape. Ojo-san! I'd like to talk to you about something. What for? Are you taking him to the station? You don't have to go with him, Satoshi-kun. Let's get out of here. I pushed on his shoulder, but he just stood there looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No, he actually looked resigned. Then, I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from the circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? That stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making anything up at all. She must not have told him that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time until the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. Police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. Probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Oishi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told him and saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. If If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But I didn't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. Might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I have to do something now. I have to say something. Otherwise, Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Oishi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back. It won't take much time. Come on, don't be scared. It won't take much time. He just said it. He just said it wouldn't. He wouldn't let him out if he caught him now. Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Oishi was clearly aware of it. Oishi smirked and held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. That hand shouldn't be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Oishi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything. Do you want to know his alibi? Huh? Oishi turned his face toward me. His hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Oishi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. It didn't really matter what I said. That's right. I want to get Hojo-san's alibi. We must not be doing our jobs. We can't seem to confirm his whereabouts at the time of the crime. It's shameful, but we decided to question him in person. You don't have to ask him. I can confirm his alibi. Really? That help? You already told me that you were at the festival that night and many people can confirm it. Be easier if we could confirm that Hojo-san was with you. But I don't think you mentioned him when I questioned you last time, did you? Are you gonna change your statement now? Even though no one at the festival saw Hojo-san, are you gonna tell me he was with you? That's right. He was with me. Wouldn't that be enough? I know you were there with your other friends that night. I saw that myself. Are you still saying that you were with them? Isn't that a little too hard to believe? Isn't it? Oishi approached me with a creepy smile. Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I don't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish. Are you saying that you forgot that you were with him, but just now remembered you actually were? Mion Sonozaki-san. I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could save Satoshi-kun if I revealed my real identity. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that. I'm not Mion Sonozaki-san. I didn't go to the Watanagashi festival in the first place. Huh? Satoshi-kun and I were talking in a restaurant in Okinomiya at that time. The name of the place is Angel Mort. You can confirm that with the owner if you want. Oishi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused. What are you saying? If you aren't Mion, then who are you? I'm Shion Sonozaki, Mion's twin sister. Pleasure to meet you, Oishi-san. Oishi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. He frowned. I didn't know Mion Sonozaki had a twin sister. Hey, try to fool me. Not at all. Why don't you check my family register? Or whatever. Should I call Sis? All the cops look bewildered now. Shion Sonozaki-san? Yes, that's me. Is there anything wrong? Can you come with us? If you're testifying that you were with Hojo-san that night, I'll have to talk to you too. Sure thing. Please go easy on us. The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. Hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. Shouldn't be too difficult to talk to Sis about this and forge an alibi together. Satoshi-kun, Tell them you were chatting with me at Angel Ward that night, no matter what they ask, okay? I'll confirm your alibi. Tell them you don't remember that night too clearly, or maybe you should just keep silent.
Oh.
Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he apparently decided not to listen. Can you hear me, Satoshi-kun? You can't mess this up, Kay? Okay. You must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him. Are you upset? Why? Because I've been fooling you. Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh. Because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something. I finally understand why you were weird sometimes in class. I'd been thinking it was a bit strange. Aren't you upset that I've been fooling you? Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. It was like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Or maybe he was only pretending to be that way. So, this isn't the first time we've met, is it? Well, yes, that's right. Okay. How do you write your name? What are the characters for poetry and sound? Shion. Huh. Huh? That's a beautiful name. Could you please come with us to the station? We can get you instant coffee or tea if you like.
Boom!
Alrighty. Big reveal. So now her name's out there.
There. Yep, that's how she's like...
So the question is, what happens from here now that Oreo-san is like... Well, I think Oreo-san already knew that... She already knew that Shion got out.
Yeah.
And is out and about, but she's like, I don't have time to deal with this. Because,
Watanagashi.
well, first of all, she didn't know where she was.
Yeah.
So now that she's revealed herself, they're probably going to be on her case. So the question is, how does she, maneuver around being killed off by her mother or grandmother? And
I have a feeling that Mion's gonna step in.
probably Mion or her father.
Mion, or, yeah.
I don't know why. I have a hunch about her father.
Because it feels to me like Mion and her sister in the present time
Don't get along.
don't get along at
So
all.
something happened. And I think it might have to revolve around Satoshi-kun. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet Satoshi-kun was still a prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. Police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Oishi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Oishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Oishi and I were thinking. But that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Oishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. She's talking about the person that confessed.
Yep.
So who the fuck confessed?
Exactly.
It's not gonna tell us because this isn't a fucking answer arc. Why doesn't it just tell us it's an answer arc?
Well, probably because it's going to tell us later. Or it doesn't even matter who confessed, and it was just some random Joe Schmo that the Sonozakis just set up.
Yeah. It's like either you confess to this murder or these crimes.
Because now that Shion's getting involved in this, it's the Sonozakis have to do something so it doesn't get wired back to them.
Yeah. Because maybe if Shion gets caught, it makes the Sonozakis look bad.
Oh yeah. And then Oreo's we need to deal with her privately. And then someone steps in to save Shio.
I think it would be too suspicious if Shion disappears. So maybe like the police.
Well, maybe they were intending on Shion being demoned away.
Mm-hmm.
But instead decided to demon away Satoshi.
Maybe to get back at. Maybe that's why Shion is so pissed.
Because the Sonozaki's demoned away Satoshi.
Mm-hmm. And she blames the Sonozaki family.
And blames Mion.
Yep. For not telling her.
And just for letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. It could be that.
And then, like with Koichi.
Keiichi. Every time.
Every time, man. I don't know why I can't get Koichi out of my head.
I don't know. It's just so lovable.
He's just a little ball.
Not really.
He's just a little...
Anyway.
And she sees the pattern that Keiichi is going through. That's why she's so pissed off at Mion again.
And that's why she's somewhat attached to Keiichi as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is so magically similar.
Yep.
To Satoshi.
Bless you.
Thank you. Alright, but I think that's all we got for right now.
Yeah.
It kind of brushed over the whole murder part.
Because I bet you it was exactly like...
Well, it wasn't exactly like it, because, remember, based on their analysis at the crime scene, she went unconscious after the first blow.
Yeah.
She didn't struggle.
And didn't
So
run
it was
away.
quick.
It was just a ping, bam, bam, flip
Smash
over,
the face,
bam,
run
bam.
away. Alright, so we will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.